Here's something I bet you guys didn't see coming. I'm going to be highlighting a Democrat. Now, Tulsi Gabbard's probably not considered a Democrat by her fellow House members, but you know what? She's on the level. There's a few things that you probably don't necessarily agree with her if you're of a conservative mindset like myself, but for the most part, dude, she keeps raising great points over and over and over again. We got two pieces of legislation here today that really prove that she's on the level. It's a sad thing that she's going to be stepping down or stepping away here I think at the end of this term here. Mostly because, well, the Democrats are completely corrupted by intersectionality and the power that big tech has afforded them, and that's what she's trying to burn down on her way out. So, if you guys don't know who Tulsi Gabbard is, she is the current representative for the 2nd Congressional District of the wonderful state of Hawaii. And her most famous moment, other than being a former combat veteran who served 2 terms, I do believe, in Iraq, thank her for her service, definitely, and this was probably her biggest contribution when she was on the debate stage, because she did have a presidential run, and you know what, she would have been a lot more successful had big tech not censored her on the night of the debate, and this certain instance happened. But she went after the world's most popular BIPOC woman, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, when she highlighted the past accomplishments of Kamala Harris. And if you guys don't know about that, let me tell it to you in the words that Tulsi Gabbard spoke on that December evening in 2019. Fuck, that's been a year. Oh my god. Wow, okay. Anyways, here's what she said directly to Kamala Harris's face. Senator Harris says that she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecuting president. But I'm deeply concerned about this record. She put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. Gabbard told Harris that she owed an apology to the people who suffered under her reign as prosecutor. This was as Attorney General of California, by the way. Harris defended herself by saying, as the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system to bend to her will, which became a national model of work that needs to be done. So you burnt it all to the ground so they had something to point to and say, that's definitely not what to do. I love how she answers all these questions, or doesn't, because you guys remember when she was asked during the vice presidential debate with, what was her name, fucking old Susie there from USA Today asked her if you had a discussion with Joe Biden if he were to become ill and what kind of the transfer would be, and she went on to recite her entire history in the United States, and what did Susan follow it up with? Thank you, Senator Harris. I look forward to a lot more of that type of interview style in the next 4 years. It should be great for everybody involved. But now that you guys know that Kamala Harris has unjustly thrown 1,500 people in jail for, well, just mindless drug offenses, which President Trump has commuted a few people for anyways, but we won't let anything good that he has done, see the light of day. It'll just get swept under the rug. Don't worry about it. Oh yes, and by the way, keeping people in jail is just in line with her forefathers and ancestors in Jamaica that used to hold slaves. Anyways, let's get into what Tulsi Gabbard proposes here, because we have a bit of a reform on Title IX. If you guys are unaware of Title IX, it is originally a piece of legislation for college sports that was purporting to delegate equal funding for both male and female sports wherever they are available. Obviously, there is no female football because who the fuck would watch that? But when it comes to basketball, the resources need to be evenly distributed amongst the sexes. Okay, fair enough. Even though there's 2 teams in female NCAA basketball, Gonzaga and I don't know, what was that one team that went on like a 72 fucking game winning streak? That's a little I care. And you know what's significant about both of these bills, to be completely honest? Because this one was also co-sponsored by Markwayne Mullin, and he's a Republican. That's pretty cool. And you know what? In the other bill that we're going to get to in the second half of the video, that was also co-sponsored by a Republican. So somebody who can actually work on both sides of the aisle, because, oh my God, Tulsi Gabbard has this weird thing called ethics and values. I don't know. It's kind of foreign to the Democratic platform, but enough mudslinging. Let's get into what this purports to do, because the bill is to ensure Title IX protections for women and girls in sports. And obviously, I think you guys probably know where this is going, but let's go ahead and I'll break it down. Today, Representative Tulsi Gabbard and Representative Markwayne Mullin, pick one name, come on dude, introduced H.R. House Resolution 8932, the Protect Women's Sports Act. Given the average differences in abilities conferred by biological sex, oh my god, I think this has already been shut down, but this is a piece of legal legislation, so spare me the axe, okay? This bill would clarify Title IX protections for female athletes is based on biological sex, so enough with those fucking second-rate athletes, and then they just slap on a dress and say, hey, I'm here to join the female powerlifter team. I've just done the clean shave, so now I can come in and pose for photo day. Obviously, people know that there's a difference between... I shouldn't take that for granted. There's this thing that men have running through their system. It's called testosterone. If you're on the left, you might lack a significant amount of it. It's understandable. If you consume a certain amount of soy in your system, it's something that gets quite repressed. But it allows you to be much stronger than your female counterparts. It allows you to produce much more muscle mass on your frame. It makes you more athletically gifted. Because even though that there is some broad kicking for the fucking Vanderbilt Commodores, I do believe their name is, whatever, the fucking Vanderbilt Comrades, even though they have a female kicker right now, she barely squeaked one over. She did score in this game today that was weirdly postponed when I checked to see the actual stats. No, she kicked the extra point and boy did it squeak over that crossbar. But yay, women in sports, even though there's probably 30 or 40 guys that are wondering about the Vanderbilt campus if everything's not online right now because be scared of the coof too. That could easily clear a kick, but because we're openly discriminating against men now, it's totally fine. She can come in and she'll be able to achieve based on the doctrine of equity and no longer the equality of opportunity doctrine. So back to the release, because there's nothing hotter than talking about transgenders. Title IX was a historic provision championed by Hawaii's own Congresswoman Patsy Mink in order to provide equal opportunity for women and girls in high school and college sports. It led to a generational shift that impacted countless women, creating life-changing opportunities for girls and women that never existed before. However, Title IX is being weakened by some states who are misinterpreting Title IX, creating uncertainty undue hardship, and lost opportunities for female athletes. Our legislation protects Title IX's original intent, which was based on general biological distinction between men and women athletes based on sex, said transphobe Tulsi Gabbard. I'll bring up an article here to show you what kind of a fucking mental gymnastics these journalists are pulling right now. It is critical that the legacy of Title IX continues to ensure women and girls in sports have the opportunity to compete and excel on a level playing field. Exactly. I don't know about you guys, but if you've seen female volleyball, it is quite engaging sometimes, especially that beach variation. I tell you what, I could watch that for hours, with or without pants. Title IX was designed to give women and girls an equal chance to succeed, including in sports, allowing biological males to compete in women's sports diminishes that equity and takes away from the original intent of Title IX. As the father of 3 girls involved in athletics, this is from Markwayne Mullin. I was like, what the fuck, is she actually going to try to transition halfway through her press release? That diminishes the equality and takes away from the original intent of Title IX. I fucked up. I want them to be able to compete on a level playing field. Okay. I am proud to lead this bill that will safeguard the integrity of women's sports and ensure female athletes can compete fairly, said Representative Markwayne Mullin. Hope he kept the same naming convention for one of his sons and just named one of them John. And then just a little bit of background. Since its creation, Title IX has been confronted by various challenges, often resulting in nuanced or situational solutions to the circumstances. This has included considering the fairness of an individual of one sex to play on a team designed for another sex when no such team is available to the individual, such as women's field hockey or men's football. Oh man, there's not a men's field hockey team? For God's sakes, that is just some sexist shit right there. This bill protects the sex-based intentions of Title IX protections by reaffirming the biological sex-based distinctions between men and women in athletics. I'm obviously picking a very biased source because I wanted you guys to grasp the full context of the fucking insanity that is going on right now that will only get worse. But, right now we'll go to the fine outlet that is complex. Also describes their frame of mind. Tulsi Gabbard criticized for introducing transphobic bill to protect women's sports. How dare she use our naming conventions against us? It says to protect women, but what about all women? With barely a month left in her congressional term, Tulsi Gabbard is pushing a transphobic piece of legislation before leaving office. As reported by Sports Illustrated, the Hawaii representative has introduced a bill that would protect women's sports based on someone's biological sex. But everybody knows that there's no such thing as biological sex. Central goal of the Protect Women's Sports Act of 2020 is to prevent trans women and non-binary people from competing in women's athletics by withholding federal funding from those schools if they permit a person whose biological sex at birth is male and to participate in an athletic program or activity that is designated for women or girls. Yikes. Unsurprisingly, the bill is co-sponsored by Republican Markwayne Mullin. Remember, guys, the person who wrote this is a part of the political party that is for science. Science. Title IX has a historic provision championed by Hawaii's own Congresswoman Patsy Mink in order to provide the equal opportunity for women and girls in high school and college sports. As we read there before, the bill continues an age-old transphobic discussion, which the ways in which biology is a primary deterrent of how we relate to gender, because it is never enough for those sycophants to continue to fucking destroy the normal course of society. Like, for fuck's sakes. They just create more terms to continue to fucking bitch and complain about. First it was bathrooms, then it was sports, and then everybody realized that that's, a little bit fucked up. But no, you're just being a bigot. No, women are not as strong as somebody who's had testosterone coursing through their body for fucking 2 decades. Like, I just pulled this up. If you guys need proof, I don't think you do. You're all at the time of recording, 154 of you brilliant people have probably understood the concepts that I've been talking about here, but this is the 100-meter dash. The world record for a female, an actual female, not somebody who may or may not have taken their dick and put it through a cigar cutter, is 10.49 seconds. Good. Much faster than I could run it, but then again, I don't train in the 100 meters. I'm much more of a distance runner, ladies. As compared to Usain Bolt's record in 2009, 9.58 seconds, nearly a full second faster than the female world record. And I'm just seeing that at the bottom. That's hilarious. The world record for women was set in 1988. Nobody's come close yet. But yeah, we should definitely let second-rate men who couldn't cut it on the male side transition over, or just go by they, them in order to fucking dominate the female side of things. Like, listen, we already seen this in practice in mixed martial arts, where you had that fucking Fallon Fox come in, not tell anybody that they were previously a male and fathered a kid was male for 30 some odd years, and then came in and smashed a bunch of unknowing women for a while until somebody who was actually talented came in and beat Fox. Because yes, a very skilled woman can beat an unskilled man at a specific discipline. I think we kind of understand that. But a very skilled woman cannot beat a very skilled man. I don't think I'm breaking any ice here, guys. Listen, what did John McEnroe get and all of that shit for? It feels like it was a decade ago, but it was probably just a couple years ago, and he was saying Serena Williams would be ranked no higher than 250th. That's fair, because I've also watched female tennis, and it gets a lot easier to watch if you turn the sound off. But the ball speed, this entire segment is just filled with innuendo, is so much slower, and the reaction times are just not there, okay? As compared to the male side, okay? You put Djokovic against Bianca Andreescu, dude, that would be over in 2 sets. I understand that's not physically possible when it comes to a complete game of tennis, but obviously she would probably give up. There is just no need for this. Why would you push this? This is fucking bizarre. Why would you want to have men hop over and dominate female sports? There's a line there that shouldn't be crossed. Game over. That's what Tulsi's trying to do on the way out the door. It's not going to work whatsoever, because there's already fucking millions. I'm vastly overestimating how many fucking intersectional morons there are out there, but there's a vocal minority on Twitter that would call her a racist, sexist, homophobe, but yeah, it doesn't matter. She's going back to private life, I think, after January when the new Congress gets sworn in, so Godspeed. But this is one that I really hope sticks around. It probably won't. It probably won't. Representatives Tulsi Gabbard and Paul Gozar of Arizona. Good man. He's very funny. He has a bunch of good quips you see on Twitter every once in a while. One of the few reasons to actually be on Twitter is some of these Republican senators and House reps every once in a while have something funny to say, but this is something important that they have to say. So those two are introducing a break up big tech bill to remove legal immunity from big tech who censor users. Delicious. Absolutely delicious. Okay? I'm at the point right now where if Trump on the way out the door just decides to take 230 and fucking burn it all the way down, yay! I don't care at this point. Listen, they aren't living up to, and when I say they, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, they aren't living up to the standards that 230 originally purported to protect in 1996, okay? It has well outlived its use, and it's just being abused, okay? If you want to argue that any of those sites are being platforms, dude, it's going to take a huge amount of mental gymnastics to convince me, because you only see one side of the discussion getting fucking yeeted off of these platforms and getting depersoned left, right, and center. And it ain't going to get any better, okay? Everybody's just going to have to rally around places like Rumble and Parler, which, you know what, right now, I'm certainly 100% behind, because I do a shit job of advertising my Rumble account, but every single day I seem to wake up to 1 or 2 new subs over there, and if any of you guys are watching this on there, thank you all very much, and we'll be talking soon about doing something potentially for Rumble. And if anybody's over here on YouTube and you see this, you know what? Rumble is really good if you don't want to have to deal with the fucking smooth-brained retards with their fucking letter avatars who just come in and go, lol, you lost. What the fuck are you doing? Okay? Rumble and Parler both require that you authenticate with a active cell phone number, I suppose. It requires you to be an actual person. It's fucking weird, right? When you have actual people, the level of nonsensical trolling just drops all the way to the floor, and if they do manage to get in there, they eventually just get fucking sectioned off and tossed into a corner where they can continue to yell to their 3 or 4 other like-minded, hateful individuals. But yeah, if this doesn't pass through, and because there's like fucking, 1 or 2 sessions left of Congress, this will probably just get fucking memory hold anyways, but it's a good start. I like it a lot. And it is officially House Resolution 8922, the Break Up Big Tech Act of 2020, which would remove the Section 230 legal immunity shields that protect interactive computer service providers like big tech monopolies and social media companies. I am sure that Tulsi probably has a red dot whenever she speaks up and talks about this, because, buddy, who engage in certain manipulative practices, including acting as publishers to censor certain users. Big tech monopolies like Google and Facebook have made billions of dollars by creating online platforms that monetize our private information. And as you've seen before in the previous video, in the past couple of days, I also talked about the antitrust lawsuits that are being pushed forward by 48 attorney generals and the one by the FTC to break up Facebook right now. If they don't act quick, that's just going to get dropped like a fucking bad habit. I bet money on it. Because one side actively benefited from all of that illegal action, and you think that they're going to do anything about it. This is all just a big show trial. It's all a big show trial, guys. Use manipulative and destructive algorithms and act as publishers, choosing which information they want to censor and publish. They undermine our freedom of speech and treat us and our attention as the product, monetizing it to line their pockets with more money without any regard of the damaging consequences, said Republican. Whoops, that was a slip of the tongue. Representative Gabbard. This bill removes the legal immunity that service providers have taken advantage of with impunity while maintaining Section 230 protections for those who provide truly neutral social media platforms or search engines without the use of manipulative algorithms, which I said in the beginning she was very much a victim of when they decided to suspend her Google account, I do believe it was, when she dropped the nuclear bomb on Kamala Harris during that Democratic primary presidential debate. And of course, you'd be out of your skull if you don't think that YouTube and Twitter, especially, it's so transparent on Twitter right now. You just look at any one of President Trump's tweets and you just see all the negativities pushed up to the top because they want you to associate anything that Trump says to immediate negativity. Just a little tip for you guys. Well, let's see what Mr. Paul Gozar has to say about this. Big tech monopolies continue to censor and manipulate users without consent or liability. The Break Up Big Tech Act, it needs to have a much more catchier name than that. Come on now. Revokes liability protections for bad Samaritans and instead empowers users. I am proud to work with Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard on the Don't Push My Buttons Act, Stop the Censorship Act, named by boomers. And now the Break Up Big Tech Act to reform Section 230 and protect online consent and free speech instead of censorship and manipulation. I look forward to your guys' depersoning in the future, and I know Gabbard's already on Parler. I'm just not too sure if Gozar's signed up yet, but this is big because what does it purport to do? Selling and displaying personal information as well as contextual advertising without users' consent. It would remove the legal immunity for all of this stuff. Collecting data for commercial purposes other than the direct sale of the interactive computer service, i.e. turning the user into the commodity or otherwise monetizing the transmission of the content. Like they put pre-roll, mid-roll, end-roll video or advertisements on smaller creators' channels. Not giving them a fair shake, because in order to get monetized on YouTube, smaller channels need 1,000 viewers and 4,000 watch hours. And as you guys may notice today, there's a certain extra line in the description where now I finally got my custom URL. I'm so very happy, and thank you all. Like I said before, 154 of you crazy bastards right now, and everyone that I've talked to so far who's signed up, you guys have been tremendously supportive, and I know that it's pretty late in the video to start talking about how great you are, but if you guys are actually subscribed to the channel and you're watching this long anyways, hope you appreciate me shouting you guys out. I'd run you guys down by name, but some of you would like to keep your anonymity. I understand that, but I really enjoy engaging with you guys who want to have something to say, so thank you all very much for allowing me to get a custom URL. That is terrific. Next stop is 1,000, I suppose. But yeah, and if you see any ads on on any of my videos that I put up, they're not benefiting me whatsoever, so feel free to use an ad blocker. I don't give a fuck. Acting as a marketplace in the digital space by facilitating the placement of items into a stream of commerce, employing digital products and designs intended to engage and addict users to the service like autoplay. Acting as a publisher by using algorithms to moderate or censor content without opt-ins from users. Oh my god, that's speaking directly to I know Facebook's pretty bad. I don't use Facebook. I haven't used Facebook since I had a little fucking page there for half a second when I was in high school, so it's all totally fucking out of date at this point, and I know it's only gotten worse and gone through so many other redesigns, and their monetization platform is fucking suspect at best, but it's all run by the Zuckerbot, so you guys have nothing really to worry about. But I really hope that this one passes through, because this is a nice concise way of reforming 230 as something that we've talked about a ton on the channel already. I think there's 2 dedicated videos to it, and I've probably alluded to it 1,000 times at this point because it directly affects everybody who interacts with the content and myself putting it out there. And with 230 staying as it is, I know one party definitely benefits from it and would definitely not bat an eye at this piece of legislation, just tossing it SCOTUS style just right out the fucking door. But I really hope Tulsi Gabbard comes back in 2 years, 4 years, does something great, because, dude, she's working on both sides of the aisle. She actually has, standards and values, and you like to see that from everybody on both sides of the aisle, because I'd consider voting for her if she was still going to be a Democrat, okay? Because that's the type of opposition people deserve. But we'll see where the political landscape, how it shakes out here after January 20th, 2021. Wow. Gone through an entire year already. See what happens from there. But I love these 2 pieces of legislation, in case you couldn't tell. And I think it's something you guys should know about, because they're going to get memory hold very quickly. Because as you can see already, for the Title IX Protection Act, Gabbard and Markwayne there are getting slandered as being transphobic by wanting to keep females with females and males with males. It's weird, right? They only like segregation when it's based on racial lines. And then this one just burning 230 and replacing it with something that actually is fit for purpose in the year 2020. Yeah, I couldn't be more behind this, but the reaction to this is suspect at best. Because the Democrats control the House and they're the ones who manipulated those algorithms, and the Joe Biden team is giving a bunch of cushy positions to people from Facebook and Google into his transition team. Oh boy, I bet you this one's not going to see the light today, but that'll do it for this one, guys. I think that this is fairly important, and that's why we led with it today, so get familiar with these House acts, and hopefully we see them again someday. Thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.